The quality of our review is terrible.
So if everybody's talking and not listening and paying attention, what are you doing tomorrow? You're working, wasting time in review. If you want to review, then you got to participate. All right, so we're on the last page, not because it's anything great, but because it does say practice test. So that seems like a good place to start. I forgot if I turned it on or not. But there's lots and lots of review in here. All right, so here we go. The word exact means no calculator. All right, guys? So, no calculator. Here we go. We need to find the cosine of 5 pi over 4. All right, so what's popping into your head? The cosine of 5 pi over 4. 5 180s divided by 4, so what is that, 225? So you'll have a basic calculator to help you with stuff like that. So we have cosine of 225. All right, where is 225? Is it over here? And what kind of triangle do we have then? What's this right here?
45.
That's a 45, and you know our 45s are 1, 1, root 2. But here's where we make mistakes. Both of these are negative. Remember, unless you're in quadrant 1, something has to be negative. Okay? So, cosine. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Negative 1 over root 2. Negative root 2 over 2. Easy. You should be able to do that with your eyes closed. The next one is exactly what I just did. For somebody who had a question about this. So where do I start? I start right here. Where do I draw that?
Quadrant 4.
No!
Quadrant 1.
That's a positive number. Where do I draw them if the number's positive?
1.
1.
Oops.
So I draw quadrant 1 angle. Opposite over adjacent is 4 over 3. Then what? Pythagorean theorem. So that's an easy one. That'll be 5. Everything's positive. Now what do I want to know? I want to know the sign. So the answer is 4/5. Elementary, Watson. Okay. What is my answer going to look like here? It's going to be an angle. What is this question want to know? What is the angle whose sine is negative 1/2? Where is this going to be? It's going to be in the 4th quadrant. And the sine is negative 1/2. Right? Which means this would be root 3, and this angle here is, come on, 30. In radians, pi over 6. But be careful. You told me I was in quadrant 4. So it's not positive pi over 6, it's negative pi over 6. Because we have to be down in quadrant 4.
Would there be 2 answers there?
No, I just told someone, listen carefully. That notation right there means one answer, period. One answer. If that notation is involved in the problem, if that's written on the page, one answer. So when I look at problem D, there's going to be one answer. All right, so I got to figure out where is that answer going to be. Well, first of all, it's a 0, you guys. Am I going to be drawing a picture of a triangle? Can't do zeros. Got to use the circle. So, here I am. Here's my circle. Do it in radians, and I do 180 in radians. So, cosine see, this is the 0.10, this is the 0.09. Okay, here we go. Let's look around the circle. I need cosine, which is x over r, to be 0. So don't I need 0 over 1?
Yes.
So where is x 0? Is x 0 here?
No.
Nope. Is x
Yes.
0 here?
Yes.
Yep, first place you get to, go in order. First place you get to is the winner. So what is the answer to this? One answer, and the answer is pi over 2 radians. That would be 90 degrees. E says find the cosecant of 3 pi over 2. Find the cosecant of 3 pi over 2. Where's 3 pi over 2?
207.
It's right here, isn't it?
Yes.
So since I've got my circle already drawn, I'm going to use it. That point down there is 0, -1. So x is 0, y is -1, and r is 1.
Yep.
What's cosecant? Reciprocal of sine. Sine is y over r. So cosecant will be r over y. So r over y will actually be -1. Right? Step by step by step, just think about it. It's not hard at all. All right, find the period. Is it sinusoidal? Okay, this is like recent stuff that we just talked about. So what is the period of the first piece of the problem? The a cosine 3x
2 pi
piece.
over 3.
It'd be 2 pi over 3. What is the period of the second piece?
2 pi over 2.
2 pi over 2, which is just pi. So is it sinusoidal?
No.
No, because those don't match. But it is periodic. This one repeats every 2 pi over 3. So 2/3, 4/3, 6/3, 8/3, and da 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 da. This one repeats every pi. So pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, da 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 da. The first time they match is right here, isn't it? So the period of the problem is 2 pi. Change 2 radians to degrees. Day 1, that's first day of the unit. What did we do? Change radians to degrees. 2 radians. What did we do? Pi over 180
X over 2. Or 2
equals
over
2 over x. Why does the 2 go up there in the top? Because it's a radian. Pi is a radian. 2 is a radian. They go in the same spot. So 360 equals pi x. 360 over pi degrees. We're rolling through this. Find a negative coterminal angle for negative pi over 7. Subtract 2 pi. Subtract 2 pi. 2 pi would be 14 sevenths. Isn't 2 pi 14 sevenths? So -1 minus 14 would be -15 pi over 7. In which quadrant is the sine positive and the cosine negative? Sine is y, right? So we need sine, we need y to be positive, and we need x to be negative. Quadrant 2. Quadrant 2. You guys, you've got to think of sine as y. Sine is y over r. Sine is y. Cosine is x. Given the secant and this, find the values of the other 5 functions. Okay, so this is one of those where you are finding everything. Okay, so we've got sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant. All right, we gotta fill in all these blanks, but they tell me the secant is 5/2. What does that automatically mean? Cosine's 2/5. We're not missing that. Now, would you agree it'd be great to have a picture to look at? And I need to know where to draw the picture. Luckily, they tell me. They tell me to draw the picture between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So right here. Between 270 and 360. And the cosine is 2/5. Root 21 negative, don't forget to make it negative. And they can fill in blanks. So sine is negative root 21 over 5. Tangent is negative root 21 over 2. Cosecant is negative 5 over root 21. And cotangent is negative 2. See how easy that is? My golly. All right, number 7. 3-part question. What's going on there? Looks like I'm going to be doing some arc length. All right, so what have I got? Got a radius of 8, an angle of 100 degrees, and I want to find the arc length. Arc length, what does arc length equal? Radius times radians. Right? What's the problem? The radius is 8.
Radians are 5 pi.
But that is a degree. So I'm going to change that into radians. So pi over 180 equals x over 100. So 180x equals 100 pi. I don't remember what you said, did you say 5 pi over 9? You're right. That's what you said. All right, I'll let you catch up with my arithmetic there. Good? Now we multiply, radian, that's not the answer, that's the radian measure of the angle. You gotta multiply that by the radius. So we get 40 pi over 9. And if the radius had a unit, it doesn't, but let's say it was inches, then this would be inches. The arc length is a unit of measurement just like the radius is. All right, B. Find the area of the smaller sector. So this is like a pie that you sit down and eat at dinner. Somebody has cut out this piece, but when they remove that piece, they leave this big piece, right? So we have the small sector and then we have the big sector. All right, how do we do that? Area of the whole circle would be what? Pi r squared. So 64 pi?
Yeah.
If we ate the whole pie, that's how much we'd eat. But we're not eating the whole pie, we're eating only this piece of it, which is what fraction? It's not half, it's what? 100 over 360. That's the fraction of the pie that we are eating. Right? So we can reduce some stuff here. Yeah, that'll be, so I have 64 pi over 1 times 5 over 18. I think I can take 2 into here and into here. I got 160 pi over 9.
Yeah.
And again, if that had been inches, this would be square inches, because that's an area. And then finally, what's the area of the rest? So if I ate this much right here, what would be left for you to eat? 64 pi minus that?
Yeah.
So 64 pi. Minus 160 pi over 9. Okay, so get a common denominator. What is that? 64 times 9. 576. Pi over 9. Minus 160 pi over 9. So you are going to eat 416 pi over 9 square inches.
Oh my goodness.
All right, here we go. Next, what are we ready for? Number 8. Sketch 1 period. Dana, just because when I look at you, you look away, doesn't mean I don't know who's back there rabble rousing.
Oh, I didn't even know you were looking at me.
Yeah, because you were looking away. All right, here we go. Y equals 2 cosine 1/2 x minus pi over 8. Now, I was nice on this one. I factored that number out for you, but you remember, if it's not factored out, you need to
X needs to be alone.
factor it out. Yeah, but this one's already
Or no
done.
coefficient.
All right, so tell me, I'm gonna draw this cosine. Tell me, what do I do? Where do I start?
You go right one to her.
So I'm gonna start at pi over 8.
Which means the period is.
And the amplitude, I hear somebody saying the amplitude is 2.
2.
It's a cosine, so I'm going to start up here, right? This is where cosines start.
4 pi cubed.
And it's gonna come down, and it's gonna come back up, and that's where it's gonna stop, right there. It's a positive cosine.
4 pi.
There's no vertical shift. So it's up 2, down 2. Now, the period is supposed to be 2 pi.
4 pi.
But I divided by a half, so that's 4 pi.
I think so.
That's 5 pi over.
Now,
All the way down.
a big mistake that's made by people not paying attention
33.
is they put 4 pi right here.
It's
I didn't mean
33 pi.
to.
No,
It's 30.
4 pi is between my hands.
33 pi.
33.
So I got a 1/8 head start. So this is gonna be 1/8 plus 4 pies.
32.
So that's 1/8 and 32/8. So this is 33 pi over 8.
Oh, man.
Right here in the middle, the middle point, the average, the midpoint, 1 and 33 is 34, and half of 34 is 17.
Nice. Done right.
1 and 17 is 18, and half of 18 is 9. And then you can either notice that, oh, I'm just adding 8 and do that, or you can do 17 and 33 is 50, and half of 50 is 25.
Oh,
Amplitude is 2. Period is 4 pi. Phase shift is pi over 8. Vertical shift is 0 because there's no number out here. And frequency is 1 over 4 pi. Repeat for a tangent. Tangents look different. So what do I know about this tangent? It's negative. It has no shift. There's no like plus or minus step over that pi. It's gonna make a difference. But not, there's still no shift. So it's still gonna have an asymptote and an asymptote right there. And it's gonna squiggle down because it's negative through the origin. Right?
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, I need to figure out where the asymptotes are. So I remember that the period is supposed to be pi. But this time, I've divided it by 5. Now, that does not mean that that's pi over 5. That means that this is pi over 5.
Yep.
From asymptote to asymptote. So if the whole thing is 1/5, then each half would have to be 1/10.
Bang.
Right?
You guys should
So-
ask
Yeah. Did I tell you about my shirt?
Yeah. Oh, steal my joke.
That brings back happy.
Yeah, I said it.
Pi over 10 and negative pi over 10.
I did say it. I heard you say it. Make a joke,
All right, number 10. Write the equation. Notice we haven't broken out our calculator yet.
That's crazy.
Write the equation of the sine and cosine for this curve.
When are we gonna break that one?
So we remember that sines and cosines are essentially the same shape. When I look at this picture, I can see both. So I'm just gonna have to decide what do I want to look at it first. And it just depends on what part of the curve I'm looking at. So if I am looking at that part of the curve, and that's an if, you gotta decide which part of it, that would be a sine. Would you agree with that? If that's the chunk you look at first, that would be a sine. So your equation is gonna be some number sine, some number x plus or minus, some number plus or minus something. Those are the 4 blanks. Amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift.
Plus pi over 6.
Okay?
Oh.
So, in here, it's gonna be x plus pi over 6 because I chose to start looking right here. I got a whole picture to look at. I chose to start looking right there.
Amplitude is 4.
So that's gonna be plus pi over 6.
Amplitude is 4.
The amplitude is 4 because the picture is going up 4 and down 4.
Yeah.
That means there's no vertical shift. It's just oscillating across the axis like it's supposed to. Now, if I'm looking at this part of the picture, what's the period?
Pi.
The period is negative 1/6 to 3/6.
So it would be 1/2.
So negative 1/6 to 3/6. How far is that?
4/6.
4/6. Or 2 pi over 3. So my period
It's too high.
from here to here is actually 2 pi over 3. But remember, let me call this D.
Maybe 3.
My period is calculated by taking 2 pi and dividing it by that number.
So it's 3.
Since I know my period is 2 pi over 3, then that means that number has to be a 3. Because 2 pi divided by 3 gives me that period. So there's my sine equation. Now I need to write the cosine equation. Now I told you last time we did this, which is a while ago, that most of the equation isn't going to change.
Just change it.
This is going to stay 4,
That's not say 3.
this is going to stay 3,
That's not.
and that's going to stay 0.
Yeah, which is.
The only one that's going to change is your phase shift, because if you're looking at it as a cosine, you're not starting here.
Minus pi.
If you're looking at it as a cosine, could I start looking here?
Yeah.
Could I look at this right here?
Good, yeah.
Oh wait, no.
I can look there,
Yeah.
and if I do,
0.
then that's a 0. Now, Jake's back there mumbling about something. Could Jake start looking here? Yeah,
I look at the.
that would be a cosine, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be a cosine? But it'd be negative, and we'd have a phase shift of pi over 3.
And we can do that.
Oh, absolutely, you could do that.
Wait, okay. No.
This problem has infinitely many answers. It's a nightmare to grade. Although, these will stay the same.
Could you look at pi like the x-axis where it starts at pi over 6?
Okay, that would be a negative sign. That would be a valley and then a hill. That's a sine curve. You can do that. Absolutely, you can do that. That would be another equation, but it would be a sine equation. Right? All right. Number 11, finally, I got a problem with my calculator. So here we go, number 11. It says, answer in radians. So I'm going to go to mode. I'm going to change my calculator into radians. And then I'm going to type second tangent 5/6. Oops. Second tangent 5/6. And I'm rounding it, it doesn't say how, so I'll just say 0.695. Right? Easy. Number 12. Sine 12 pi, and please use the pi button. Use your pi button. Sine 12 pi divided by 17. And we got 0.798.
Yeah.
And then 13, before I go to it, notice it's in degrees. So I'm going to go to mode, change my calculator into degrees, and then I'm going to solve question 13. Come on, this will be our last one. Let's get it done. Question 13. 3 sine plus 5 equals 7.
You take the pi over first.
So we'll subtract the 5, divide by 3, and the sine is 2/3. Now, before we go to our calculator, which we're going to, where could this be? Where could I have a sine value of 2/3?
First quadrant.
First quadrant or third quadrant?
No, first is right. First quadrant and
Or second.
second.
Yeah.
Kids, sine is y.
Oh yeah.
Where is y positive?
First, second.
First and second. So I'm going to go to my calculator. and I'm gonna type in, I already switched to degrees, make sure you did that. I'm gonna type in second sine 2/3. And I got 41.81. Did you get that?
Yeah, 41.81.
Okay, now what are the answers to the question? Be careful. This would be one answer to the question. Remember, we start measuring here. So one answer is 41.81 degrees. That's one answer. The other answer
180 minus.
is this right here, which would be
180
180 minus, which would be 138.19. Oh, double check that. That would be your second answer. Okay? Now, we have time. That didn't take as long as I thought. Let's look at number 14. Oh, stop it. You love it and you know it. A flying squirrel
I do.
is in a tree 18 feet above the ground. All right, so we have a squirrel in a tree 18 feet above the ground.
18 feet.
Isn't that what it says?
Yeah.
So, here is my tree. Here's my squirrel. He's 18 feet above the ground. And I'm sure he's looking at something.
So he's trying to find
He's
the nut.
looking at a nut on the ground, and his angle is 27 degrees.
So X.
You with me?
Yeah.
How far
The squirrel from the
is the squirrel from the nut? Isn't that X?
Oh.
Elijah, see how easy it is to screw up? You gotta read every word carefully. So, sine, cosine, or tangent, sine 27 equals 18 over x. X sine 27 equals 18. X equals 18 over sine
Yes.
27. Now, this will be our last one. Let's type it in. We gotta talk about our test. So, by the way, that's a degree measure. I can't remember how I am.
Got
I'm in degrees, so I'm good.
18.821.
18 divided by sine 27.
Yep.
I got 39.65.
Yeah, that's what I got.
39.
Yeah. Oh, I had it in,
Third.
Okay, ratings, yeah, I'm already knowing, Joe. It's a rookie mistake.
So here's my thought. My thought is we'll review one more day. So is that tomorrow? And then we'll take a test on Thursday?
What about next week? You don't want to take it next week? We have another like 5 days of study.
Keep asking, but he's gonna make it tomorrow.
No, but Mr. Moore, can we actually have another few days review?
I don't know. We'll see how tomorrow
Depending on
goes.
tomorrow.
We'll see how tomorrow goes.
Skinny out bodybuilders.
Is it now?
And we have a bunch of homework still out.
Should find
So
that well.
you guys that aren't doing the homework, you better get that in. Maybe it's over here now. I don't know.
I saw the ball.